Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, Rob. Are you guys watching this Falcons game? I got one pick right so far. Sorry, too soon? Too soon? Actually, it is too soon. It might be, still pretty early in the game.
Yeah, I say, you're getting all excited here now, and it's like we barely started the game, and you're like, I won this already.
I'm just saying... You're like, no, Bucks got this. No big deal.
Yeah, well, I have some faith in them still. The game is not even close to over. It's not even halftime yet, dude.
It's not over till the fat lady sings. You're 100% right.
Exactly, and I may not be a woman, but I am fat, and I'll start singing as soon as the Bucks start winning.
La 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 la. Loving you is easy because you're tubby.
Oh my god! All right, guys. So we got a lot of news to go over with you guys. We got a couple of Giants that are this much closer to the Hall of Fame. A couple of them are people that have been snubbed for quite a while. In fact, one of them hasn't played football in about 60 years. So yeah. We also got injury news to go over here with the game coming up this weekend here with the Giants and the Seahawks, and of course we got, as always, our NFL picks for Week 5 there, guys. So let's get right into with the Giants news here. So first off there, we got the fact that there are literally 4 New York Giants guys. 4 that are going to go ahead and get into the Hall of Fame potentially here as they reach the next round of senior voting. That's like when you've reached over the age of 65 and you get a discount on coffee. No, it's a committee that if you haven't played basically in 25 years, the committee meets up and decides who they want to go ahead and add there at that point. They got to the first round. They got 4 Giants. It's weird the Giants actually listed as 3 Giants. And oh yeah, by the way, so-and-so got in as well. I'll get to the so-and-so in a person. But they didn't include him as a full-on ex-Giant. Probably because he used to play for the Cowboys for a lot of years, I'm guessing maybe. But the guy played for a Giant. Once a Giant, always a Giant. Unless you're Eli Apple. That's the one exception we give on that whole thing there. But, that's what it's supposed to be. So I don't care if you started out as a Cowboy. You played for the Giants. You got a ring with the Giants. You're a Giant as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, 4 guys. You got Charlie Conerly, the legendary quarterback who was literally the original face of the franchise for a lot of years. Linebacker Carl Banks, who's, of course, still the voice of the New York Giants on play-by-play radio. Running back Ottis Anderson, we talked about there a couple episodes ago. And the defensive back Everson Walls, who's the guy I mentioned, was best years was with the Cowboys. Let's be honest. If he goes in the Hall of Fame, he goes in as a Cowboy. But he still was a Giant. He still played for the Giants. He still got a ring with the Giants. Like most Cowboy players, he had to leave the Cowboys to win a ring. Oh.
True.
Like DeMarcus Ware. So... they're on to the next stage there. So they're not in the Hall of Fame, guys. There's still a couple of stages more to go, but it's good that they're progressing forward at that point there. So a little bit on those guys here. Charlie Conerly was the quarterback from 1948 to 1961, guys. So pretty long career there. Didn't even start playing. He was in his late 20s, guys. So, could have been even longer if there was a modern football era, so to speak there. 2 Pro Bowls, 1 NFL championship, was the 1959 NEA MVP. Carl Banks, I don't think that got any much introduction there. Linebacker from 84 to 95, all but his last 3 seasons with the Giants. 1-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ. On the Hall of Fame's all 1980s team. And that, to me, is the biggest issue I have with the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Like, you literally said, oh, you're like one of the best at your position for this decade. We're going to put you on the all-NFL team for that decade, but you're not good enough to get in the Hall of Fame? Was the 1980s a crappy year for linebackers that I'm unaware? Like, that's ridiculous. If you get onto one of those decade teams, you should automatically be in the Hall of Fame. That means you are one of the best of your generation. which is exactly what the Hall of Fame is. Now, I will say Carl Banks' numbers do not jump at you, and I think that's probably his biggest issue. He's one of those guys that you watch and you see the eye test, and you really see how good he is. But if you're going purely based on numbers, he's not a Hall of Famer. But the eye test, the people actually got to watch him play, realized that man knew football, sniffed things out, moved things along, got things going at that point, and helped his teammates a lot to pick up snaps at that point, pick up tackles and all, because people were trying to get out of the way of where Carl Banks was going. So, and then obviously afterwards, you got, again, the radio part of him, the media part for years and years. I think that does go into that to a certain degree, because it's still it's something you gave to the football community, so to speak, there. It's definitely should qualify as part of that there. Ottis Anderson, we talked about again last couple, 2 episodes ago, I believe it was, running back from 1979 to 1992, played his last 7 seasons with the Giants, 10,273 rushing yards, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, and was the MVP of Super Bowl 25. So, yeah, decent record there. We talked about it. It's a different era, and that's part of the issues going into it. Because if you told me a guy right now gets 10,000 yards rushing, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
One guy we have in the NFL right now that I tell you will probably hit the 10,000-yard mark, and that's Derrick Henry. So that's it, guys. I think the second most active rushing yards is Ezekiel Elliott. That's crazy. Like, that's absolutely insane. So yeah, Henry's actually going to hit it. I'm looking up the numbers here. He's going to hit it probably this weekend. He's got 18 yards to go. So I think it's a pretty safe bet he'll hit it. Ezekiel Elliott, 89-85. That's where he's at. And then you go all the way down to guys who do like 6,000 yards at that point, like Joe Mixon, Latavius Murray, Melvin Gordon, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey. All those guys are 6 to 6,600 yards. That's just how good Derrick Henry is. So, it's weird because, again, that's a number now that you hit it, you're in automatically. Not so much back then, because there was a lot more running backs. But what's interesting is we asked you all, those who actually got the chance to watch him play, what you thought. Because, again, Rob and I were like not even born basically during his best years. 79 to 81 was his first 3 seasons. That was his best years. And we just weren't around for it. I was born in 82. Rob a couple of years later after that. So he didn't get that chance.
A couple.
Okay, 1.5. You old 2. Deal.
3.
Okay, that's not that much more than a couple. It could be a throuple.
Yeah.
A modern couple.
82.
But yeah, everybody that we asked, that answered that question said, yeah, point blank, I watched him play. The guy was a beast. He was a Hall of Famer. So, hopefully they remedied that mistake then. Everson Walls, cornerback from 1981 to 1993. His best years were basically the early 80s when he first came into the league as a Cowboy and was just an absolute beast. Spent 90 to 92 with the Giants, 4-time Pro Bowler. And they got those in his first 5 years in the league, guys. That's what I mean. When I mean he was good back then, like those first couple of years, he was damn good. 1 first-team All-Pro, 2 second-team All-Pros, 1 Super Bowl champ with the Giants, of course, and led the league in interceptions 3 different times in his career. So, again, that's an impressive career. I'm going to give it to the people that were actually around for it to make their decision if he's Hall of Fame. I don't like to make that call for people that I haven't extensively gotten the chance to watch in his best years again, or when I was, in diapers. Maybe I'll get a chance to watch him again, when I'm in diapers later on in life. Who knows? I mean, it's just free time to watch all these players. But yeah, guys, 4. And keep in mind this year, Eli Manning's first year to eligible to vote for to put him in the Hall of Fame. Tom Coughlin still not in the Hall of Fame. This could be a Giants Hall of Fame class, guys. How nice would that be?
Finally, something good for the Giants.
Absolutely. And I'm going to still make the case. There's one guy who who I'm probably going to mention here, because there's one guy that was not on this list that I still think deserves a shot at the Hall of Fame. a guy who has not played since the 60s, guys. And that's Jimmy Patton, who was also a New York Giant. 5-time All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. Guy who's never even sniffed getting close into the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, but if you got 5 years of being the best at your position, you should be in the Hall of Fame. Flat out. So another guy, I hope that we eventually remedy that one. But in the meantime, we got 4 guys who might get in senior status-wise. I don't know if they give him a silver jacket instead of the gold jacket there, but,
Pick what you can get. Beggars can't be choosers at this point.
It's platinum. It's not.
Yeah. But I think you're cold. You should still get a jacket.
But, again, you got those guys. And like I said, you got two Giants potentially going in that are, traditional way as well. So, like I said, it'd be nice to get all Giants pretty much Hall of Fame class. And then, like I said, maybe Rob and I go over to Canton to go see it happen at that point. Let's get into the rest of the Giants news here, guys. So we got to talk about some good news with the Giants, too. We talk so much bad news because, obviously, let's be honest, guys, our record's not the greatest. Our team hasn't played the greatest. But it hasn't been all bad. And this rookie class has been really one of the strengths of this team, really. And we talked about going into this where Joe Shane really hasn't been that good of a drafter. And he hasn't prior to this year. But this is a draft class, and you can look at it and go, there's some potential here, guys. There is some potential. It all starts, obviously, Malik Neighbors, who is already, you can say point blank, one of the best receivers in the league. He's already gotten himself there. You got Tyler Nubin, who's an up-and-coming guy. Drew Phillips is doing very good. Even Darius Musa is doing good there. I mean, you got some guys there. Theo Johnson, at least seeing some playing time. Hopefully he develops. We'll see there. But you got some guys here that are doing some things. It's not like, remember, was a couple of years ago that literally like almost every single rookie got hurt?
Just about. Was it 2 years ago? Or was it last year?
I want to say it was like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And every single one but Micah McFadden got hurt. Like, he was the only guy to be on the team, basically, still from there. So, yeah, it could be a lot worse, guys. And it's a building block year, potentially, based on what's going on. So, we got 2 Giants, though, that made the first quarter all-rookie team, which was made by Dan Brugler from The Athletic. So, let's give you the rundown of what he said in these guys. Because, again, it's so rare that we hear good things about Giants. We got to share the good news when we get it. So, Malik Neighbors, they said, even with inconsistent quarterback play, head to the little slap apparently. Neighbors enters the league, leads the league entire NFL in targets, 52, and receptions, 35, and he's second in receiving yards, 386, and receiving touchdowns, 3. My favorite part of Neighbors' game at LSU was his ability to create explosive plays. He led the FBS with 34 catches of 20-plus yards in 2023. And through the first month of the NFL season, he is tied for the league lead with 7 catches of 20-plus yards. So far, Neighbors has looked like the superstar as college film suggested he would be, with gliding athleticism allowing him to separate early or late in the route, and he does an outstanding job adjusting and framing the football. Add in his ability to create after the catch, and Neighbors has the skill set to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Now, I should say, and he kind of alluded to this as well in the very beginning, that first part of that, this is like, this is like looking at a guy who's basically been doing a lot of yak yards to get where he's got to get to. He hasn't had a lot of deep catches, really, guys. We still haven't seen that part of it. Like, there's so much room for growth. It's not even funny, guys. Absolutely not funny. But we also got to see him get protected at that point, too. We can't overuse him. Can't put him in situations he's going to get hit so he gets more concussions, because we don't want that to happen, obviously, both for his health and for the team's health. So, I see, John asking, has Neighbor recovered from concussion yet?
He didn't practice today.
Yeah. Deb says, hope Neighbors is back soon. Yeah, guys, we need him back. Without him, we are in trouble. That's for sure. But we'll get into the injury report here later on here, or if you're watching in the video segments later on, it's a different video, but the injury report. Tyler Nubin, though, was the second guy added onto that list. I was kind of shocked by that, guys, to be honest. I thought it'd be Drew Phillips. When I first saw the article, I'm like, Drew Phillips got to be the second guy because he's just played so well coming down and hitting the run, stuff like that. But no, Tyler Nubin. They said about him, when working downhill and playing the alleys, Nubin has been outstanding. His toughness and reliability as a tackler stand out on tape and on the stat sheet. Through 4 games, Nubin is tied for the rookie leading tackles, 22, and has been tagged with only 1 missed tackle. At Minnesota, Nubin set a school record with 13 career interceptions, but that on-ball production has been missing thus far in the NFL. He has been too conservative in coverage, which must change as he adjusts to the speed of the pro game. So, yeah, interesting because it's kind of like, again, a little slap in the face. Can't just say he's playing good, got to add things, but
yeah.
You know, we talked about it ourselves, though. Again, that big play, the CeeDee Lamb play at that point that we killed Banks for, he was supposed to get help from Nubin, and Nubin took the wrong angle. But there's a learning curve, guys. Like we talk about the learning curve always with corners, because corners is like such a 50-50 proposition when you get them in the first round. It really is. But you look at the safety position. Why is the safety not considered a learning curve? They're covering just same as a corner is, and they're doing a run, and they're hitting center field. It's like you could make the case that safety is almost like the tight end of the defense. Like they're involved with almost every aspect. They even come to the line and go after the quarterback sometimes. Jason Pinnock comes to mind. He's pretty good at it. So I don't understand why that stigma isn't there. But like I said, I think he's got a good start to there. But like I said, I really thought Drew Phillips was going to be the guy they put the second one. But he did make honorable mentions. So Drew Phillips and Darius Musow, the rookie linebacker, both made honorable mention guys. So interesting though to see an article on best rookies so far this year and 4 Giants. That's good.
It's taken us like 4 or 5 years to get like 2.
But, I mean, again, they can't all be wins. We want every draft pick to be a hit, obviously, but they can't. So if you got 4 guys already that are looking at being, contributors on this team, that's pretty good. I hate to say it, this isn't me setting the bar low. This is saying legit, like, Shane, we've given you a lot of crap for your drafting, and rightfully so. It looks like you did a good job this time. So, glad to hear that, that's for sure, because you got to build the draft. So, let's get into the injury report, guys. This is going to take a half an hour, basically, just to go through the Seahawks injuries, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
How nice is that? For once, the Giants are the ones that aren't crazily injured. How many years has it been where it's like, oh, this guy's injured, that guy's injured, this guy's injured, that guy's injured, this guy's injured. And by the way, the other team, no injuries. That's what it felt like it was for the last couple of years here. So
4 years at least.
This game, we're getting better, guys. We're getting better. Some of the guys are starting to making some progress here, but we have 2 big names to keep an eye out for the Giants right now. Did not practice as of Thursday. Malik Neighbors, concussion, and Devin Singletary, the groin injury. So those are 2 pretty big names we really would like to have, especially Neighbors in this game. Singletary I like, but not as big as a loss in my eyes as what Neighbors would be. Neighbors has basically been our entire offense this year, So, yeah, we need that guy back. That's for sure. Limited in practice. Dory Jackson with the calf injury and Drew Phillips also with the calf injury. So you got 2 different corners there. Now, yesterday they did not practice. Today they're limited practice. So that's a good sign that they're making progress here. Hopefully that we can get them back. We need to have the corners fully healthy and stocked and ready to go against this team. Again, we talked about it yesterday there. 3 really good receivers there. Any of those 3 can take the game over. There's DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, or, Tyler Lockett. All 3 of those guys have that opportunity. So, also limited is edge Brian Burns with a groin injury, and Wan'Dale Robinson also with the heel as well. So, have to see how that all pans out. But Neighbors and Robinson, who is basically like 75% of the throws that DJ's made this season, it feels like. That's a bad thing for those guys to both be injured, guys. We need at least one of them, preferably both, because this is not an easy team for us to beat. I'm telling you that right now. Full participant linebacker Matthew Adams, we talked about yesterday because he practiced well for the first time since his window opened up to return. So we'll see if he returns this week, but he'd be a really nice add to the special teams, that's for sure. Let's get prepared for the Seahawks injuries, guys. Let's just
grab your popcorn.
Down, grab your popcorn.
We're going down
here. Take a little.
Do the Al Bundy.
Take a little, relaxing pose here because it's going to take half an hour to go over these. All right, let's go for it here. And I'm going to give you guys a little synopsis of who they are as well, because I assume you guys aren't necessarily as knowledgeable on the Seahawks roster either. Because let's be honest, if we didn't do the show, Rob and I wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
I'm just giving it like it is, guys. Byron Murphy II, the rookie defensive tackle, was the first-round pick from Texas. He's been pretty impressive for them so far. He's got a hamstring issue, did not practice. Tyrell Dodson also did not practice, got both an ankle and a shoulder issue at that point. He's their starting linebacker who's led the team with 33 tackles. Nose tackle, Jonathan Hankins, personal but did not participate. We'll have to see what goes on there. He's also a starting defensive tackle for them. You all probably know him from back in the day when he was a Giant. He was a former second-round pick of ours from Ohio State. Linebacker Boye Mafe, knee injury, missed last week as well. He's had a sack literally in every single game that he's been active for this year and got 9 last year. So that's a decent loss for them not to have. So they got 4 not participating. Let's go down the list of the limited participants, which it feels like we can just go down the list of who did participate, and it would seem like it would take less time. That's how bad it's getting for them.
So, not wrong.
Dude, this is bad. Like, this is a long list. Like, seriously. Tight end Farrah Brown is a knee and foot issue. He's a veteran blocking tight end who's been on 38% of their offensive snaps in the 2 games he's played this year. Tight end Noah Fant. He's a starting tight end. He's got the toe injury. Tyler Lockett, the thigh injury, again, starting wide receiver. Tight end Brady Russell's got a shoulder issue. He's a second-year tight end. It's mostly been a special teamer, but he's the 3rd tight end on their depth chart. And if you notice, 3 out of the 4 names I've given you so far are tight ends that are limited in practice. That's not very good for the tight end group when all 3 of them were injured. That's for damn sure. Linebacker Jerome Baker, hamstring issue. Starting linebacker, missed the 2 games so far this year. Our old buddy Julian Love, the former Giant, safety, thigh injury. You got Uchenna Nwozo. I always mispronounce his name. Wusu. There we go.
Ushuacha.
Knee injury. Missed all 4 games so far. Missed 11 games last year. Had 9.5 sacks back in 22. So again, a good player that they're missing and have been missing for quite a while there. Another old friend of ours, Leonard Williams. Leo is there. He's got a rib injury. Again, obviously a starter and former Giant. Nose tackle Cameron Young with a knee injury. He's a backup that's played in just 18% of the defensive snaps last year. Hasn't played yet this year. So that's 13 players, guys, not practicing or limited in the walkthrough they had on Wednesday. That's insane. That's like a quarter of their roster. And we didn't even get to the full participants yet.
Yeah.
Like, there's more. Oh, wait, there's more.
Yeah, it's more. Throwing double. Shazam. Or Chipotle way.
Well, Chipotle, there's never more. It's always less. No.
Yeah. Oh, no. There's a South Park episode where Billy Mays came into it and he gave you a cleaning spray called Chipotle away. When you bleed in your underwear after having Chipotle, you could clean it up with the spray.
Oh my God. Anyway, on that,
talk about more injuries.
Full participants there. Guard Anthony Bradford, knee injury. Wide receiver DK Metcalf, hand injury. Running back Kenneth Walker III, oblique injury. Linebacker Derek Hall, hip injury. Safety Rayshawn Jenkins, hand injury. Linebacker Tyrese Knight, knee injury. Remember him? He was one of the rookies that we thought late round pick would be a really good player. He's actually played twice. He started for them. He's got a 59 PFF grade so far. So not a great start, but he's got some playing time at that point. He's turned a little bit heads there. Safety Kevon Wallace, also shoulder injury as well. So yeah, guys, that's a lot. That's we're up to 20 players.
It's a 53-man roster.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. Yeah. I like I said, this is very Giants. You know, it's like that's what we're used to. That's what we used to always get, like almost every single week. It felt like,
yeah, terrible, terrible.
But yeah, so I don't know what's going on, but that's absolutely insane. That's I can't remember the last time I've seen an injury report that long. And it's funny to hear Giants fans talking about, you know, the issues of like, okay, we have Neighbors is an issue, Singletary is an issue, that kind of stuff. But it's like, guys, imagine having half your team out. That's even worse.
Yeah.
You know, and I know how important, obviously, it is to have Neighbors out there and Singletary out there, obviously. But it is more important to have half your roster playing. That's for damn sure. You know?
Yeah, there's only so much you could do.
No, I mean, it's like
half your team playing. Grant,
all three of your tight ends.
It's so crazy.
All three of them. It's absolutely insane. So let's get into one more topic here before we get into our picks here, because we got to talk about Jalen Hyatt here. This might be his week. Is this Jalen Hyatt's chance, guys?
I think the Giants, East Rutherford, may have called the PI to find this guy because he's been wanted. He's been on milk cartons.
By the way, Rob, do you have your other webcam? Because your thing is flashing like crazy. Like it's about to go.
Yeah.
Give someone like a Tourette syndrome issue here with your webcam. It's like a horror movie. I feel like I'm watching Saw over here.
Want to play a game?
But yeah, guys, we got to talk about Jalen Hyatt. So obviously, we're talking about Neighbors. We don't know what's going to happen here. He's having some issues, obviously with the concussion still. And until they clear him, we're not gonna see him. And what that is, we don't know. The Giants don't control that. You know, independent doctors control that 100%. They're going to cover themselves as they should and have to. You got the heel injury with Wan'Dale Robinson. You know, we don't know how much he's going to play. I think he's going to play personally, but does that mean he's going to get the full workload he usually gets? I don't know. Depends on how bad the heel is. Only Dable knows and Wan'Dale knows, pretty much. That's that. Well, obviously some other people in the building too, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we don't say there's a training staff. There's a strength and conditioning staff.
There's at least two or three other people.
Yeah.
But it's like we got to figure out what's going to happen in that scenario, because if either one of them or both of them are out, or if Wan'Dale can't handle a full workload, does Jalen Hyatt finally get a chance, guys? I'm not so sure. I know there's a lot of Hyatt people that are like big on Hyatt. They want to see it. Guys, he had every opportunity to beat Slayton out, and he couldn't do it. Flat out couldn't do it. And I feel like he's still that one-trick pony of like he's a fast guy, can get down the field. But right now, with the way Daniel Jones is throwing the ball, and this is where I got attacked by both the Daniel Jones fans and the Jalen Hyatt fans. The way Daniel Jones is throwing the ball, what's the one thing he really sucks at right now? Throwing the ball. Like, there's other things he sucks at. This, I'm saying, really is bad at. Like, he's atrocious at throwing the ball deep right now, guys. So when you have a guy that all he can do is run faster than everybody else and get, you know, a 9 route down the seam at that point and go ahead and create some separation, guess who's probably not going to get the ball? Because either DJ's not going to see him or he's not going to throw him the ball properly and be off by a couple of yards. The next thing you know, he's going to be done. You know, like, think about like the play that Neighbors had a couple weeks ago where he literally ripped the ball out of the corner's hands and what would have been an interception otherwise. Jalen Hyatt ain't doing that, guys.
No, he's a little too small for that.
Yeah, like that guy has like spaghetti noodle arms. Like he's tiny.
You see an inflatable, like, you know, guy that sits in front of a used car lot.
Yeah, like he's not great at jump balls. He's got every single guy in the NFL basically that scouted him said he's a project as far as route running. And I blame Tennessee, by the way, not him. Tennessee did not set him up for success. They just went, you can run the ball deep. and we can toss it to you from your deep routes. And they just did that over and over again because it kept working. So I get it from their perspective. Their perspective is I want to win football games. But as a college, you got to set people up for success as well in the NFL. Same as if you were going to, let's say, Tennessee for biology and you wanted to be a biologist. Using a random analogy here. Would you be a little ticked off if they didn't teach you what you needed to know to become a biologist?
Pretty much.
They didn't teach him what he needed to be an NFL receiver. They didn't teach him the route tree, all this kind of stuff, and give him that chance. So, unfortunately, there's a learning curve. That's why he dropped to the third round for us guys. So I do.
We thought it was a steal.
Yeah, we said it going into it. We said he's a one-trick pony, and he's a project.
We did. We also thought it was a steal too. We jumped on it for the third round.
Oh, listen, I still think he's a steal in the third round just because of the potential, because of what he can do speed-wise. You can't teach speed. You got it or you don't. But we thought he was going to go late first round, early second. We said, oh, God, no.
Yeah.
I'm fine where we got him, but we didn't want him that high. But like I said, I just don't think the combo of a guy who can only run the ball, run deep routes, basically, and a guy who can't throw the ball deep, that's not a good combo.
No.
Yeah, like that's trying to have a combo of a chocolate milk and somebody who's lactose intolerant. Like it's not going to go well. Like,
well, depends on who's watching.
I'm just saying, like it's not going to go well. Like that's where we're at. I think the bigger thing is I think you have a chance for Theo Johnson to finally have a decent game and see what he's got. I think also Bryce Ford Wheaton is a guy who could be a sneaky guy to get a little playing time in this game because of that. We haven't seen him on offense yet. He's been all special teams. But let's be frank, we haven't seen anybody really except the big three. Slayton, Wandell, and Neighbors. DJ might have to spread the ball around this game.
100% does if he wants to win this game.
Yeah. And like I said, I think Bryce Ford Wheaton is a guy who's going to be interesting to see if he gets some playing time because he does run good routes. He does get the jump ball. His problem has always been his hands. He had a ridiculous drop rate in college. Hopefully the Giants saw something, fix that, and can see what he can do at that point there. But he's got the physical tools where I think he fits DJ's, abilities much better. So we'll see what happens. And who knows? Could be we're talking out of our tuchuses there at that point, to put it nicely. And Neighbors and Rondell Robinson both playing. They're both healthy. And they're both, no issue whatsoever. And it's business as usual. We throw to three guys, and that's it.
Yeah.
But
let's hope we can run the ball. Let's hope,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got to spread the ball around. That's for sure. Like that's 100%. Not sustainable. Like that's why Neighbors got hurt. How many times did you slope him a play?
Do you see that Dan Jones came out today saying that that it wasn't prior injuries that's keeping him from throwing the ball deep? It has to do with some mechanics and some a lot of the play call.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Although he's tied with Lamar Jackson for deep balls like that in the NFL.
I just feel like that's like the equivalent of like asking somebody after a relationship's over what ended it. Like, oh, I don't know. It's mutual decision.
No, it wasn't me. It was her.
Yeah, like that's what I feel like. Like, just admit I'm banged up. I'm having trouble because of the neck. But I don't know. It wasn't necessarily admitted to the media. But I wouldn't say it that way. Like, oh, it's the play calling. It's this, that. It was like, say, I got to work. I got to work harder at that. That's all there is to it. And move on.
You pretty much say it like that as well.
I should be.
But you say it's not. Just saying there wasn't many deep routes to throw to.
I should definitely be the PR person for the Giants. I'm just saying. Every time they see something stupid, I want to like strangle them. Not in an actual physical way, for the record. We won't get banned by YouTube for threatening Giants players.
Just the PR press.
I'm just saying, Pat Hanlon, if you're out there. But yeah, like I said, guys, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. That's for sure. So, all right, let's pay the bills real quick. Let's get into the comments, and then we're going to get into our picks, and Rob will have a chance to gloat for a moment there.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All right, John starts us off with WTF is up, homies.
What up, John?
My cholesterol, my blood pressure. So many things, not even funny. John says Herb Brightwell got released by the Browns. Again, he's a fringe NFL guy. You're going to see fringe NFL guys get picked up. That's their life, basically, for as long as they're in the NFL.
Pretty much.
Where he is. He's still going into, is it year 4 or year 5 in the NFL now for him?
I think it's 4 because I think he was only a Giant for 3 years, wasn't he?
Yeah. I thought so too. That's what I was. That's what I was.
4th year. I want to say because we didn't extend it.
Yeah, I mean, so if that's it's his 4th year. So I mean, he's already in year 4. He's already outlives the average NFL player when he makes it for 3 years. So,
Yeah.
John says, "Cool hearing Ike Hillier's name. He's wide receivers coach for the Bucks. He's not the wide receiver coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. There, John.
No, but talking about Milwaukee." Milwaukee. That's it. He's so smart.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Pete Alonso for the Mets just hit a 3-run home run to take the lead in this ball game. By the way,
baseball.
It was baseball. Still New York media.
It's all right. We'll talk for 10 minutes. They'll be still scratching themselves in machine pitches.
I had to change that.
Just saying.
There's a pitch count.
Deb says, hope neighbors back soon. Yes, definitely. John says, yeah, let's hope Daniel Jones doesn't get him killed with his passes. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I love my New York Giants says, do you think Hyatt will be more involved versus Seattle? Yeah, we beat you to the punch apparently. So we already had this segment planned to go in there. But yeah, again, I don't think what he does well matches well with what Daniel Jones does. Okay.
Yeah,
the best way to word it, probably.
When we drafted him, he was doing it pretty well.
Yeah, it's
wasn't doing a lot, but he was doing it well. He was doing it efficiently.
He used to be very good at throwing the ball deep.
Yeah.
And I hate people that hate him hate when people say that. But I'm sorry, it's the truth. He threw a very nice deep ball when he first got in the league, and then if you look at stats, clap off, Jason Garrett, and it was over. Like he just.
I thought you were talking about his knee.
No, that's a totally different thing. Jason Garrett was like the worst hire for Daniel Jones ever. It totally got him out of the whole winning mentality and trying to actually throw touchdowns up and all that kind of stuff. Like we made him too conservative, and then he kept getting injured. Yeah. John says 17-17 tie game, Bucks versus Falcons. It's now 24-17 though. As Deb just says, Sterling Shepard to score touchdown for the Bucks. So Bucks doing good there. Omega says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Omega?
What up?"
Solving the race problems is honestly, do you think the Giants' season is already done? I will say that I think it's not over yet, but it's not far from it. If we lose this game and go 1-4, it's really hard to come back from that, guys. 2-3, you have a chance still, but it's not great. But 1-4, you're done.
I mean, the Bengals made the playoff doing that, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's not like there's always exceptions to every rule.
Yeah, I'm saying everyone said the Giants season was out, 15 plus years ago when we went 0-2. We were talking about firing our quarterback and head coach, and we won a Super Bowl. So you don't never say it's over till the fat lady starts singing, but it also don't get your hopes up.
Yeah. I'm saying it's 0-2 and 1-4 is a completely different scenario. So, like I said, let's see what happens. I'm not saying we're 1-4 yet. Obviously, we're 1-3, but 2-3 you can recover from. 1-4, it starts getting really hard to recover from. That's for sure.
Yeah.
John says, "Shep, yes." He says, "Tampa Bay Bucks drew it. Autocorrected Bucks to Bucks." What the Buck?
What does the Buck say?
What the Buck is an actual Bucks podcast already.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So it should be. It should be. Solving the race problems is, do you think Dable is a better coach than Shane is a GM? Yeah.
It's hard to say because can be able to do what he does without Shane. He's always had Shane around. Granted, he wasn't his GM, but they worked together always when they were higher up in the NFL. So it's hard to remove one from the other. But
yeah,
I would probably say yes, because some of the moves that Daboll's done over the years. I mean, there's some questionable stuff. How do you not pick up a kicker? Or was that Shane's fault?
It's Shane's calling, and he controls the roster.
Yeah, so stuff like that you have to question. Stuff like some of the draft picks that we question Shane on. I mean, Grant, we just talked about this year. Our rookie class is, it's got 4 people on it, but you've had some time to get more than that.
Yeah. It's just, and I mention every time we talk about Daboll, really, because it's a true consistent thing to say. Like he played, he got them playing last year when there was nothing to play for.
Yes.
Like the team was doing very good as far as effort. And that's on the coach. That's one of the biggest things you need out of a coach. Now, the kicking situation, that kind of stuff, there's things you can look at and go, what the hell? People also rag on him for his play calling. I think his play calling is hampered by his confidence in Daniel Jones personally. Yes. I have no way of knowing that. He's not going to say that, obviously, at the podium.
No, but he's very good at being stoic when he talks to the media. But if you watch Hard Knocks with him, and they were talking about who they get in the draft, and it wasn't a quarterback moving around, you kind of saw him get a little ticked.
He looked a little upset, that's for sure. Definitely looks upset. Let's see. John says the way our division is, it's anybody's game to win division. Injuries, coaching issues, QB issues. I'll say the answer, none of us would have said who the NFC East champion is going to be when the season started. Probably would have been either us or the Commanders. Guys, the Commanders are 3-1. And I want to, get too early into our picks this week here at that point, but they're playing the Browns, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
4-1. Let's just call that one right now. Like they're gonna be 4-1. And that being said, if we lose, which let's be honest, we're not the favored. We're 1-4. They're 4-1. That's not easy to come back from, guys.
No, it's not. But I mean, I guess we shall see. It's like,
listen, again, you're not wrong. It's never over till you're over at that point.
Especially if you have a tough division. Like everyone said that last year Eagles are going to have 13, 14 wins and about 1-6 in the last 7. Like things happen. Your strength of your schedule changes things. If Jordan Daniel goes down, how does that offense look? Key tackles go down. How does that offense look? Key safety goes down. How does that defense look? There's things that can happen through the season. So
always.
Yes, you can start 1-4, but there's been quite a few teams that started off strong and finished like dog food.
Yeah, but I mean, they got the Browns this week. They got the Commanders next week after that. So I mean, they got basically a gimme game and then a difficult game after that. But then it's the Panthers, the Bears, us, Steelers. Like that's 4 teams that are beatable. Like this team, even if they lose against, let's say they hypothetically lose against the Ravens, they could be 8-2. Like, honestly, we lose 1 or 2 more games here, guys, early on, and it's over.
But
early in the season.
But also, once again, they're beatable teams. But the Commanders, their wins have been close wins against not good teams.
I'm not about to say that necessarily fully. I mean, they shellacked the Cardinals. The rest of the games, but they did shellac the Cardinals. I got to give that.
Yeah, but the Cardinals are the jobber of the NFL. Everyone talks about how great. Everyone talks about how great they're going to be and how Kyler Murray's going to lead his team. He put down his Xbox remote. Look at the record the past 5 years.
Listen, he leads Normandy every time he plays Call of Duty.
Yeah, which is more times than not. So how great is that team when they're playing 500, normal football all the time?
Yeah, trust me. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like this is winnable here. Like this is a team that can go on a streak there at that point and put some separation between them and the rest of the division very easily. So John says, damn, I wish they would have gotten Baker when he was cheap. Nobody wanted Baker then, though.
No, I would have been mad about that. I would have ranted about that.
I honestly, I wouldn't have ranted about it only because I'd assume he came in to be the backup. And he's a good backup. You know, looking back on it, he would have been a very good starter comparatively, especially to Daniel Jones. But last year, everybody was looking at him as like a wash. It's like him or Daniel Jones, the same player.
Yeah.
You know?
I literally said at some point, he'll look good for the first 4 to 6 weeks. That's what he's done most of his career. And then end of the season, take it to the playoffs, insert foot into mouth.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll see what's going to happen there. I'm not sold necessarily on Baker still because we've seen too much of Baker. We've seen good and bad Baker. And I'll tell you point blank, guys, the Bucs fans, because living here in Tampa Bay, I can tell you what is said by them on a regular basis. They were not happy with Baker last year. They thought the offense was inept. So, let's see what happens. It's only 4 weeks in, now 5th week. There's still a lot more football to go. And our opinion of Baker Mayfield for the 24 season could easily change. But yes, I would take him over DJ in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Especially the season thus far.
Solving the race problem says Commanders only lost to a good Bucs team. I look forward to the game with the Commanders versus Ravens next week. Big prove it type of game. Yeah. That's like I said, that's one of the more quality teams they're gonna have to face here till the end of the season when they kind of go on a little bit of a stretch.
And the Ravens, I mean, yeah, we all say how good the team they are, but they haven't played that good.
They didn't play good to start the year, but I think they've kind of turned it around the last couple of weeks. Deb says, "Fat lady here," and I'm singing it's over. Yeah, like I said, it's probably, like I said, it's not looking good. I want to say it's fully on over, but it's looking bleak.
It's only over right now if you put it on the Giants Goofball page. It's over. It's over.
Oh gosh. All right. Let's get into our picks, guys. Let's get into our week 5.
Right.
So we got to also do our recap, of course, here for you as well. Since he won last week, we're doing the name change here. Rob is now Roberto. But yeah, so on the season now, guys, we actually let me give you last week first. So last week, my worst week by far. Rob definitely took advantage. So win-loss wise, I got 7 picks right. He got 9. I only got 6 of my my spread picks right. He got 9. I got 8 of my over-unders right. He had 7, so I did win at least one category. And we tied for 3 apiece on our trifectas there, getting the wins, spread picks, and over-unders all correct in the same game there. So that gave Rob a 4-point lead on me there that week, which cut my season total down from 106 to 103. So I got a 5-point lead still going on here going into week 5. So, we'll see if I can undo some of that damage I did to myself last week there. And it was looking bad for me at the beginning. I don't know if you were watching this. I was wrong in almost every 1 o'clock game. It was bad. It was bad. And all of a sudden, luckily, I pulled out to at least salvage something at that point there. Like I always say, guys, it's difficult when you pick every single game. Like we don't chicken out like some of the guys out there. Like, oh, well, here's your game of the week, and here's 5 games we'd gamble on. No, we're gonna give you every goddamn pick. We'll tell you not to pick some games, but we'll give you every single one.
Especially this close to the beginning of the season. Yes, we're entering week 5 now. That's so crazy to say.
There's a lot of teams, though, that you're still like. I feel like by this point of the season, usually you have a good feel for the teams. There's a lot of teams out there still that I don't feel like I have a good feel for yet. Because
you also have to remember, there's a lot of good teams last year that had a lot of key injuries that fell off the wagon. A lot of people are still saying they're the team of the last year. Now they have solid players coming back and playing better. There's also teams like the Colts who have not been playing probably as well, although they flew under the radar last year. But you have Anthony Richardson, this great quarterback everyone's been talking about, and they go with the third string at later in the year.
Yeah,
and now you got Anthony Richardson's back, and
he's a totally different person, Anthony Anderson.
Totally, but you bring him back, and That's not looking quite as a solid team as it was.
Yeah, weird, because he looked really good last year. I think he's just still coming back from an injury, not 100% yet. They've kind of stopped him running as much, which is part of what he does there. So, but let's get into our Sunday games. We already did our picks for the game going live at this point there on yesterday's episode. So, considering the games at halftime, you probably don't even want to watch that anymore, but it's there if you don't want to. Let's start off with the 9:30 in the morning London time.
Ooh, jolly good. Chip chop.
It's time.
Have some tea and crumpet.
For the Jets at the Vikings, which I find it funny for the Vikings. I think that should be like the first game in like Finland or something like that.
Definitely.
Like,
Do you want
the first time you go to Norwegian land at that point with it, like, like, oh look, we're gonna have an NFL game in Reykjavik. Let's go ahead and add the Vikings to it. Like,
we're gonna go Norwegia.
Yeah, like or like Oslo or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think Copenhagen. I'm trying to think of like Norwegian cities, but like that'd be entertaining. I would enjoy it. So, Rob, you won last week, so go first.
All right. Well, I mean, talking about the Vikings and from sailing from Norway to Finland and going into England, they sack England for hundreds of years before the NFL football teams got it, and they're going to continue that tradition and probably make that team Christian and keep them there in this way they don't, sack the city again. But that's besides the point.
So saying sack, come on to you.
I do. I think there's going to be so many sacks by the Vikings onto Aaron Rodgers because that offensive line is terrible.
Oh my god!
I did it. Yes, but I'm taking the Vikings to win. They're obviously going to cover. But I'm taking the over in this game, and it's the lack of confidence on the defense of the Jets defense to stop this momentum that's been going on for the Vikings. And I also think the momentum for the Jets have been going in the wrong way. I mean, any Jets fan will tell you they have hope, which means they sound like a Giants fan right now.
Yeah. No, and Giants fans don't have any hope. Let's be honest. We're not. We're quite the most pessimistic fan base out there.
Yeah.
So I'm agreeing with you on the Vikings, though. I think the Vikings are going to go ahead and do some damage here. The Jets, they might as well go ahead and play Norwegian land there because there's something wrong in Denmark with the Jets, guys. Like I don't pretend.
Jeez.
You see what I did there? Yeah. But it's like I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes there. I think Aaron Rodgers is probably a lot more frustrated than he was letting on. They're already talking about Devontae Adams wanting to go also to the Jets in the trade potentially because he's requested a trade supposedly from the Raiders. Sorry, but
Aaron Rodgers came out earlier this week and said that him and the head coach, I don't even know if he used his actual name. I think he said the head coach. They text all the time about non-football things.
Me and the head coach, we text all the time in head coaching capacities.
Non-football things. That was the best part. Non-football things. Could have just said like Star Wars or something you guys actually have in common. I don't know.
We go into caves and do shrooms.
Yeah.
Something. But maybe Robert Saleh needs that. But yeah, guys, like I think this season is prepped to go downhill really fast for these Jets. And to be another just disappointing Jets season. And listen, as much as I'm a Giants fan, I don't want bad on the Jets. Like I honestly root for them because I know people that are Jets fans that I have respect for, and I want them to have happy times as well. I want them to get to the Super Bowl every single year and lose to the Giants. Just saying. Like that's
New York, East Rutherford,
East Rutherford. Yeah. Usually when we play each other, it's for the worst record in the league instead. That's what it's been lately. Is that but yeah, it's just something, like I said, something's going on wrong there at that point. And I don't know if it's all Rodgers and his attitude issues and stuff like that, or if, maybe he's worried because he booked into the trip to Cairo and forgot to tell them. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's just, there's something there. You can see it in the body language of the team as a whole.
Maybe he needs to do another mushroom trip.
And I wonder, guys, will Robert Saleh last this season? At some point, you got to go, you know what? This dude is not ready. And don't get me wrong, Hackett's not ready either. Hackett can't hack it. Like, that's where he's at. But something's going down there at that point. But yeah, we're in agreement on this one here. Vikings. And I'm going to say over, but it's honestly, I'm saying over because I think the Vikings themselves will put up enough points to make it close to over. They're going to put up 24 points, 27 points at that point there. And it makes it much easier for the Jets to put up a couple touchdowns and squeak out an over on that.
Yeah, 100%. So up next, you got the Panthers going to play the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. I love just saying the Bears.
The big dicka or little dicka.
Oh, it's always the big dicka. But they're giving up 4 points in this game, and the over-under is 41 points. Senior Drew, thoughts, sir?
I have a lot of thoughts. I think they should be
about
adding
this game.
Oh, okay. Going to rants about mushrooms and marshmallows and the Lucky Charms, not mushrooms.
Oh yeah, why they always like super hard, like just shrivel?
Really? Yes, thank you. Like, why are you? Why don't you get them in a separate packet and let me put them in the milk first and then mix it in? It probably be better. Anyway, random things that go through an ADD mind. But this is a game that if you said a couple of weeks ago, I'd have no interest in this whatsoever watching this. But, now all of a sudden, Caleb Williams had a decent game last week at that point. You got the Panthers now looking better on offense with Andy Dalton. But I'm sticking to my guns on what I said off the get-go, that Caleb Williams is not going to be nearly as good this year. And I think the Panthers are a little revitalized still by having Dalton out there. They were definitely outmatched against the Bengals last week. That was definitely, we called that go. You and I both, I remember, right, said the same thing at that point, that Bengals are so much better that they can't hang with them. But it was and again, I don't want to say a 10-point loss is a moral victory, but it was a 10-point loss. It wasn't like they lost by 20 or 25. Like, this is supposed to be the worst team in the league playing against, I know they were 0-3 at the time, but one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, highly respected team that even with the backup quarterback last year went to the playoffs.
So I don't think the Panthers are as bad as people think. And I have, besides that one game, I have not so positive thoughts on the way the Bears have played so far. So I'm going to predict here in what would definitely be a surprise to a lot of people that the Panthers win the game. And I'm not just saying that because I want the first pick in the draft, but I think the Panthers are going to win. I think the Panthers obviously would cover the spread at that point because they're getting points in this whole thing. And I actually have the under on this as well. I think the Bears are not going to put up a lot of points. It's my gut feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with you at all. I actually took the complete opposite. And actually, last minute,
get my points.
Switched over to that over because I don't think much of the defense is going to show up. I think, which is going to give Caleb Williams more time in the pocket to chuck the ball, even though they don't have that good of a pocket. They do have talent around there. They're going to get it together. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to happen. Andy Dalton did revitalize this team, which is why I put this in the over. If it was still Bryce Young in this game, I probably would have took the under in a
Oh, God. Ball. Yeah. If it was Bryce Young, I would have easily said blowout.
Yeah. I'm going to go up where it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take the Bears to win, the Bears to cover, and I'm going to take the over in a nice, fun, shoot-'em-out game with terrible play.
I'm looking at the numbers here. I was curious what the difference has been since they put Dalton in there. So the Panthers lost the first two games by 37 points to one, 23 the other at that point. So that's 60 points they lost the first 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, they're actually up by 4 points. That's a big swing.
Yeah.
And again, they played better teams. I mean, the Saints and the Chargers and the Raiders and the Bengals. It's not like they played like two cream puff games compared to two really tough games. Like
cream puff.
That does sound good. I just had a cupcake actually too. It still smells. It still sounds good. Anyway, let's get to the next one there.
All right.
I thought you were going. You've been taking the reins. Take the reins.
I just take the reins. Let's go.
You'll be Santa. I'll be Rudolph. What?
Oh.
Ooh. Is my nose red?
You may guide this sleigh, but I'm the champion of the holiday. All right, you got the Ravens going at Cincinnati. Talk about the Bengals. The Ravens, the Bengals are favored.
Too long of shifts at this point.
It's like about 9 hours past 2 days. It's terrible.
9 hours. I had a 12-hour shift today alone. So yeah.
Oh no! I was talking about my sleep. About 9 hours the past 2 nights. If I'm lucky.
Sleep.
Yeah. Sorry, Bengals are favored by 2.5 at home. And the over/under is projected to be a shootout at 48.5 points. I'm taking the Bengals, getting it right, like I've been saying all year. They start off slow. This is a big divisional game. And if anything they like doing, even last year, they like beating up on the Ravens. They went 1-1. I think the Ravens are on the path to get things right. I do think they're going to score, but I think the Ravens, the Bengals are going to win. They're going to cover this. Speaking of Joe Burrow is going to play better. He's not going to be sitting at the sideline going, you see that? It's amazing.
He might still do that. He might still do that.
It's a divisional game. Wow. And these games.
What does Eminem do at that point? By the way, you hear Eminem is going to be a grandfather. Who else feels old?
Jeez.
Yeah.
But with that over-under, it's projected to be a shootout. And what happens in these games, typically, historically, it goes one way or the other. It could be a 9-15 game, or it's 45-48. And I'm not saying it's going to be that high, but I think you're going to see some high 20 points in there. Possibly like a 30-27.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. That's for sure. I don't know. Sutton tells me that the Bengals aren't necessarily as bad as the record said. I mean, look at what they did. They lost to the Patriots. Bad loss. There's no around that. You lose by 1 point to the Chiefs, who was still undefeated. You lose to the Commanders when that loss looks a whole lot better now than it did that day. You know, it's not your typical 1-3, but you can kind of talk yourself around all these different ones. The Ravens, though, have been playing very well the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to say the Ravens. I'm going to go opposite on you. I am going to say that the Ravens will go ahead and cover the spread as well. I mean, 2.5 points is nothing to change anything on there. Yeah. I'm actually going to change my answer on the over-under. Originally, I was thinking the under. I'm going to go the over on this and match with you on that one, actually, because I was looking at what they've done, and the Ravens have given up un-Raven-esque kind of point totals this year so far. So, you know, they gave up 27. They gave up 26. They gave up 25. And last week, 10. But, I mean, 3 out of the 4 games, they've given up, 25, 26 points there. So, not difficult, really, at that point to look at 48.5 and say that's not ridiculous. And Vegas is telling you they want you to go the under. That's why they're putting it so high. They're trying to make it look less attractive. So, I'm going to go the over on this one.
Perfect. All right. Up next, we got the Bills playing the Texans.
Yeah.
Spell that wrong like I did before. It was the Texans. Damn Texans. The bill collector.
Team as the Kansas City Chefs.
Oh, yeah. There definitely was chefs in there, too. The Texans are 1-point favorites at home, which pretty much tells you that Vegas is saying it's a toss-up. We just got to respect the home field team.
Yep.
Yeah. Both these teams are good.
Home field is worth a couple points, so it actually tells you they think the Bills.
It used to be 3 at home, but there's been a lot of talks over the past 5 years in betting that the home field advantage does not matter unless you're like in Seattle. And it used to be if you were going to go see Oakland, I'd say Oakland, but Oakland didn't matter. But you see the Raiders because Raider fans come out of the woodwork. But when you go to Vegas, you get fans of anyone, just people just there seeing football games because that's what you have. You fill up stadiums, but it's not all with your fans.
Dark ocean.
Right? So, obviously, Josh Allen didn't look so good last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what he did the week before? Dude looked like a stud. Dude was hammering balls. Just don't tell his wife.
Wow. He's not married. He's got a girlfriend.
Yeah, but the Bills team kind of dips down and up. They kind of do a little wave pattern.
Yes.
So I'm taking the Bills to win this game. That point means absolutely junked me.
Nada.
Now the over-under on this game was 47.5. And once again, that's just kind of teetering to do what we just said about the Ravens game. Like, they want you to take the under. And you know what? I'm taking the bait in this game because, like, yes, Josh Allen could sit there and put up 40 points himself. He's done it. I just think the Texans defense is going to play them a little better. These teams play each other pretty good. And I'm going to – Drew, don't look up notes in the middle of the game to change your thoughts.
I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Until I say it, we're good.
But I'm going to take the under in this game. And it's going to be probably, I'm going to say about a 7-point spread. So, like, if you want to get some spread, tally it up, go for it.
You say you're taking the under in this game?
I did take the under in this game.
Because you just changed your own pick.
I didn't change anything.
It says over here.
Oh.
Our sheet.
My tablet's right here.
It's over.
Oh.
I'm with the under. Taking my answers. Who's you blaming now? Yeah, I'm
Did you change it? You said it again?
I didn't. I swear I didn't. You used lowercase. I used
it was the one-dollar man.
So anyway, you and I, same frame of mind here at that point. The Texans were thought to be a much better team this year. They're still a good team, but they haven't been a difference from last year. I feel like that people were expecting with the addition of Stephon Diggs and a couple other players that they've gotten, like Danielle Hunter, some of the guys they added onto this team overall. So the Bills, I think, will be looking to put a little revenge, and I think they get it. So I got Bills, and under, like Rob. I had mine originally that way. So
pretty sure you changed it.
I did not. Next up,
you got the Colts going into the Jaguars, Jacksonville, down by you. The Jags are giving up 3 at home.
Crazy.
Which is nuts because last year everyone talked about how great they are. And the over-under in this game is at 46 points. Now, both teams have not come out of the gate strong. We've talked about this on plenty of other shows. Like, Jaguars were supposed to be 4-0. Everyone thought Trevor Lawrence was, the Reveline Jesus or something.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah, how does he get his hat? How does he get his helmet off at halftime with perfect hair?
I don't know.
He fixes it for camera. Like, he has to. There's no other way.
I think it's pretty obvious. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Yeah.
I still got some, but I don't have a lot. That's for damn sure. Time has not been.
I regret getting a haircut now.
Hair follicles. I just got one yesterday, so I'm good.
But I want to take the Colts to win this game. I think their defense is better played, even though it hasn't fully shown. But I think they play better than Jacksonville offense. And that's silly to say, but that's going to make the big difference in this game. Because of that, I'm going to take the Colts to win, obviously, because 3 points. And I have the over in this game. Because I think it's going to be a shootout from the Colts side. I think Anthony Richardson gets it right. I do think the Jags going to have enough to get probably close to 17, 20 points, but I think Anthony Richardson's going to have himself a good day.
I'm going to make it very simple. The Jaguars lost to the Browns, so Colts over.
Touche, but the Browns aren't as bad as a lot of people think. I know you're not a fan, but
we beat them. That says enough.
Yeah. Anyway. You got the Dolphins going into New England playing the Pats. Oh, God, the Pats. I'm going to talk the Hava. Oh, yeah.
By the way, your pick literally said Pat 'S.
Yeah, it auto-corrected to that when I was filling it in, and I just didn't fix it because I thought it was funny. Like, Chiefs turn to the Chefs, which I was like, how do you get that? Because there's still Chiefs out there. It's not like you say there's deer out there. You say there's Chiefs out there.
Yes, there's chefs.
Yeah. There's only chefs out there. There's no Chiefs
The
out there.
Kansas City chefs.
Yeah. Now, the Pats are giving up a point at home, which is mind-blowing. And an over-under in this game is 36.5 points. This one doesn't need much talking. This whole team in Miami is concussed with a concussed.
Oh, my God. It's bad.
Without him playing, it's been god-awful no matter who they put in. Tyreek Hill has played like doo-doo, and he needs a fantasy owner that has him. But the second pick in there, any of the draft, maybe the third, depends where you took him.
It's like the Godsmack song. Do.
Yeah, do. I mean, and it's not saying much because the Patriots are also doo-doo, but at least they've been playing good doo-doo with their
solid firm.
Almost, yeah. Like, it's not like Taco Tuesday.
Yes.
It's like a hearty, nice chicken. All right, enough with that. But I'm taking the Pats away, and I'm taking
sushi that sat outside too long.
It's like right where Miami's set up on that marshy land.
Oh God, not the water, not the Everglades water. Beware the gators.
Ooh. You guys get gators in your toilet?
No, not the toilet. Actually, I haven't seen that.
Oh, did you see that?
I've seen snakes in the toilets. I've seen that. There's videos of that before.
Have you seen the alligator, like the big 8-foot alligator in someone's house during, I guess, I don't know if it was right during the hurricane.
Oh, it happens all the time, dude.
But they opened it up, their house, and it was just like water pouring out, and the gator's in there.
That's why you keep the doors and windows closed, and you don't go swimming in the water. That and the human excrement in the water as well is probably not best for you.
Same. Who doesn't do that in the water?
No. Some of that is sewage water that came up. That's not all. Yeah, that's
it's not all defecation. I think we have enough doo-doo talk.
Anyway, enough poo-poo talk here.
Yeah.
Serving up a poo-poo platter here. So, yeah. Simple. Pats under. This is a garbage game.
There we
I
go.
have no interest in watching whatsoever. I think this Dolphin team is on the process of exploding. And I think that's also showing them two things we're learning in this lesson. Maybe Tua is not as average as people thought he was. And maybe a backup quarterback is an important thing when your guy's been concussed multiple times already.
100%. I mean, we talked about that last year. We talked about it last year, how important that is. But whatever, you can't lead the horses to water. Or some people say lead a fish to water.
Can't lead a Bronco to water, but you can force it to drink dolphin water.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Defecation water. Anyway, on to the next game. Talk about doo-doo. The Browns go to play the Commanders. Nice segue there. The Commanders are giving up 3.5 at home. Yeah. This would be the Super Bowl.
Oh.
All right, enough of that. The over on this game is 43.5 points. Drew, what are you thinking here?
Yeah. You know my thoughts on. Listen, guys, this I'm going to tell you right now is like the pick of the week for me, guys. The Browns are tremendously horrible. The Commanders have been playing tremendously well. So yeah, Commanders got 3.5 points. That's it. Guess what? Commanders again. And then the over under is only 43 points. They've been scoring 43 points on their own the last couple of weeks. So over. So Commanders, and over.
Yeah,
now, tell us why you're wrong, Rob.
Oh, I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because stuff. You said tremendously well, and no team has done anything tremendously well. They had a different strength and schedule.
3-1.
Okay.
They are fine. What the record says: 3-1 versus 1-3.
Okay, if you had, tell me about how great the Ravens are as they're 1-3.
They are who we thought they were. Anyway,
playoffs. I don't trust this rookie quarterback quite yet. I don't think he has some of the best weapons around him. I think it's still a learning process. So I think the Browns could exploit that on defense. And I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle game, and it's going to end in the under. And the Browns are going to pull it out. They're going to do the doo-doo Brown thing.
Oh, God.
Anyway, go to 4 o'clock. You got the Raiders going into Denver to play the Broncos. The Broncos are going up 2.5 points at home. The over-under is at a whopping and an amazing 36 points.
Woo-hoo.
I mean,
yep. We lose you, Rob. Oh, there you are.
You put everyone in the backs there. So you got the Broncos giving up 2.5 points at home. The over-under is a whopping 36 points. A big spread for this game. Drew, we agree right off the bat. I don't even know if it's that hard. We agree on the under of this, but I am going to take the Broncos to win this game. I think they've been playing a little better football, which is not saying much because the Raiders have not been playing good football, even though they beat up on the Ravens. So I'm taking the Broncos to win, the Broncos to cover in the under.
I got the Mambo number 5 in my head here because one team may score only 5 points. That's how bad this is. But I think there's something we're forgetting this whole thing. Antonio Pierce has been basically told not to come back to the NCAA because of all the issues he did breaking the rules at Arizona State. So he has to succeed in the NFL. So I'm going to give him the win. He's got nowhere else to go. He's going to be jobless otherwise.
I don't think Sean Payton cares about that. He needs to do the same thing to have a job too.
Sean Payton is just still probably trying to get Drew Brees out of retirement. Okay,
Drew, please. Oh God. Or other 4 o'clock
have
game.
some children like the Mannings.
Yeah, please. Did you do that 20 years ago yet?
He probably has kids. I don't know.
Yeah,
I assume so. He seems like the type that has like the white picket fence and like 5 children and 2 dogs. Like,
yeah, 3 to 5 kids. I think is
I think
Drew's range.
It's probably where he's at. But anyway, I got the Raiders to win this. And again, it's just a matter of lack of faith in the other team as much as anything else. The Broncos just barely squeaked out a win versus the Jets. The Jets are a dysfunctional mess. Bo Nix, I think he set a record for least passing yards in a game you won. It's insanity, like what's going on that week there last week. But the Raiders can do just enough. Like they got some weapons. You know, they got some decent tight ends. They got 2 they've drafted the last year, insanely. You know, even without Adams, they still got Jacoby Myers there at the wide receiver position. You know, they're going to do just enough at that point to make it happen at that point there. And the Raiders squeak out a win. It'll be a close win, but you know, in the end,
not great at all.
The Broncos are getting the points are giving up the points in this whole thing anyway at that point. So a win is a win. It's a point at that point for me. So I'm going to go Broncos under.
Cool. Up next 4 o'clock game, you got the Cards going in to play the Niners. The Niners are giving up 7.5 points at home. Woof. And the over-under is a whopping 39.5. Woof. Yeah. This game is pretty easy here. It's a divisional game, so it's definitely going to be played tough. It's going to be played close. There are 2 offensive juggernauts here. And I say that term loosely talking about the Cardinals and actually the Niners right now because they're dealing with some injuries on offense.
The juggernaut?
Juggernauts.
Someone warned Charles Xavier.
Yeah. I'm the juggernaut, bitch. But I'm going to take the Niners to win because yes, it's a divisional game, but the Niners have had the Cards numbered. But 7.5 has been too rich for my blood in these games. Yes, there's been some blowouts, but I think the average spread, if I've talked about, it's been like 6 points. And then it beat it. And the divisional game, I don't think they're going to get spanked. But I'm taking the over in this game because I do think they're going to put up enough points on each side to get, even if they do like a 21 to 24. There you go. Even if they could do 27 to 21, you still cover.
Yeah. Nice and simple. I'm in a complete agreement with you. Niners Cards over. I mean, it's a divisional game, like you said. Niners banged up, but they're still a better team.
Oh, yeah. Let's go into the 425 games because they are
425.
So we're talking about little LA over here. We got the Rams hosting the Packers.
I'm gonna ram them.
The Ram Team Ramrod. But The Rams are our favorite at home. They're
we're tired tonight. You can tell we're tired tonight.
The Rams are our favorite at home. They're 3-dog underdogs.
3-dog night. What?
3-point underdogs at home.
Joy to the world.
Joy to the world. The over under is 48.5 points.
Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea.
Yeah. Once again, we talk once you get up to about 50 points. Vegas is after you take the over. Or sometimes the under, depending on how you think these teams are going to play it. Well, it definitely wants you to take the under. And I'm going to bite on this one as well. I'm going to take the under.
Yeah.
The Rams have been lackluster on offense. Love is 0-2 as the starting quarterback as his team, with Malik Neighbors being 2-0. Love started. Malik Willis. Jeff, wrong Malik.
Malik.
Yeah. Espresso wearing off. So I'm taking the Packers to win this game, even though I just talked down about them. But Stafford has not done much at all this year. They just seem injured at every position, even though they got players in there. John McVay is not doing his job. His autism, I guess, wore off. I don't know. He's not making the right playing calls. Don't cancel me. I'm also taking the Packers to cover. Obviously,
the word is expressed by Rob, but not necessarily that of Drew.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers to cover this as well, and I'm taking the under because I just don't have faith to get enough points on the board.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and my faith is just not there specifically with the Rams. I mean, look what happened with the Packers. They started off really slow against the Vikings. Vikings got out to a massive lead. They almost came back. But they didn't quite. But the rust definitely came off for Love there towards as the game progressed there. So I'm with you. I got Packers under. We're in agreement again.
Cool. Talk about our game. If you want to know what we think, really pay attention to last night. We had a nice some guest on the show.
We had the guy in Gala, should say, Tom and Sam from Big Blue Avenue. So if you guys haven't already checked out their stuff there, feel free to go pop over to them when you're done with us. Wait till we're done, people. Stay in your seat.
Yeah, please drive safe. Anyway, so we're gonna make this nice and easy. We already talked about this a few times. We already gave you summaries about how the Giants are going into Seattle. I'm taking the Hawks to win this game. I'm taking the Giants to cover that 6.5 point spread, and I'm taking the under. I'm taking the over in the points here.
Yep. Dude, we got to stop. I don't know. Maybe I have to wait to put my picks up till you put your picks up or something.
I'm going to have to put mine off to the side again.
Yeah, because, we're in agreement again. Listen, the Giants have not played well this year, but they played close.
Yes.
And
I thought you said it was going to be a blowout last night. People rewatch. Call them out.
Listen, it is what it is. I'm allowed to change my mind, okay? It's man's prerogative, okay? And it's just, if I got to put money on, I'm going to put money on that. But my concern is it could be a blowout very easily. And it depends on what happens with the secondary. And the reason I'm kind of getting a little more optimistic is because we're getting better news out of Adoree Jackson, better news out of Drew Phillips there at that point where they're now limited in practice, which is better news than being not practicing at all. If we got those guys back, we got a little more extra hands to help with that trio of receivers. And, things may happen there. We'll find out.
Yeah, it all depends on, the depth chart on both teams, but mostly ours. Going into Sunday night.
Sunday night.
This reminds me of an Amazon Prime game of 2 years ago. You got the Cowboys going into Pittsburgh, Steel City, playing the Steelers.
The bar from the Police Academy movies.
The Steelers are giving up 2.5 at home. We're almost through this, Drew. Come on now. Slap it. Yeah, the Cowboys are giving up 2.5 points at home. And the over-under on this is 44.5. Drew, now you can talk.
Oh, now I can talk. I appreciate that. Listen, here's what it boils down to. I still don't trust the Steelers. I trust Mike Tomlin. He's the only reason they've been in games this year. Let's be very frank in that first off. I look at it in the end and I go, okay, who's the best weapon either team has on offense? The best quarterback is definitely Dak in this. The best wide receiver is CeeDee Lamb in this. Something just tells me they're going to squeak out a win in this. And do what they usually do for the Cowboys. They go get and give their fans just enough hope for them to then go in the playoffs and lose horribly. So Cowboys, I got to win. They're going to cover, obviously, because they're the ones getting the points in this whole thing. And I have the under on the points because in the end, the Pittsburgh Steelers still have a good defense. And that's what you got is a good defensive team going against an okay defense. Okay offense at that point. And it's just a matter of they're going to put up just enough that they can't get away with a mediocre quarterback play they've had for most of the season here. So Cowboys under.
Yeah, I do agree it's going to be under. But when it comes to playing, we talk about home field advantage. Normally, when you play in Steel City, you have a little bit more of a home field advantage. You also have a committee in the running back room, which Dallas, besides playing against us, have been historically bad against this year. So I'm taking Steelers to win this game. I think it's still going to be a poop bowl, and it's going to be low scoring. But I'm going to take the Steelers to win, and I'm also going to obviously take the Steelers to cover because 3 points means absolutely nothing to me because
nothing.
And it's hard to win by one in this NFL. It's like, yeah, you're playing with magic with that.
Yeah.
All right, finally,
last game.
We have done it. Monday Night Football. Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. You got the Saints going into Kansas City. The Chiefs are giving up 5.5 at home, which is talk about favorites. Over under is 43 points on this. Both teams have had a really good defense. Both teams like running the ball. So I'm going to go start off the bat with the under, thinking that both people are going to start running the clock on this unless it gets
both people.
Both teams, both coaches, but
both people. The rest of them going to sit around drinking Gatorade.
Yep, a little bit, or maybe who knows? It might be a little cold that Monday night over there.
A little rum in there.
Ooh, I'm taking the Chiefs to win because they're a much better team. But what they've been doing this year and last year, because of how the play has worked out, especially the lack of production from Kelsey, they've been running the ball. Like I said, yep. Same with the Chiefs. Same with the Saints. I'm taking the Saints to actually cover in this game. And once again, in the under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game that's just going to be a lot of clock management.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I'm with you on that. I just feel like this is going to be a Chiefs win. I think they're doing just enough to cover the win by one touchdown. That's it. And I do think he's going to be talking over on the points because both these teams can easily put up 20 points on their own. So whoever wins is going to win by putting up just a little bit over 20 at that point there. It's going to make a 27-20 kind of game all day long. So, yeah, I got Chiefs over.
Ooh. There's a lot of same tonight, a lot of different tonight. So there's going to be some key plays.
It's a lot of everything tonight, apparently.
Well, I'm saying half the games we agreed on 100%. So we're right on that. We ride or die.
Moves are going to go ahead and change everything for us here. So we'll see what happens.
He said, I'm going to take a picture of this right now.
You always make these accusations. All righty, guys. We'll be back for you guys here Sunday.
Games at 4:30. So
actually, Sunday night. Exactly. Yeah, it's the late game. We got the late game. So we'll be
going on late.
Game is over. 7:30, 8 o'clock or so. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, at that point, maybe we pop on for something pre-game. Maybe if I get bored watching the game, come on, just talk to you guys about during the game. We'll see. Yeah. But definitely the post-game show. Rob and I are going to discuss beyond that. So we'll definitely do the post-game show, though, for you guys. We'll have that there. Only the second the game is over, we'll be live with the post-game coverage there. So be there or be square. And in this case, it is not hip to be square. So do not
be a triangle.
Do not be a triangle. They're just missing one corner in the hip to be square ratio. So we'll be, like I said, on there for you guys. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share to a friend, but definitely hit that bell on YouTube. Hit it everywhere because, guys, the more places you hit the like on, the more chances you will get to find out when we go live. People often, if we change anything at time, I didn't see you guys went live. I thought I missed the show. Hit it everywhere. That's the best way to find out. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile, and occasionally Instagram. Remember to set it up because it's a whole setup process. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. Goes live 5 a.m. in the morning there on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there. So
Drew's Grindr account.
Oh yes. Damn it, I didn't really gonna find that. But
Don't ask me how.
Go ahead and subscribe to that, not my Grindr account, but the audio podcast platforms as well. How did you find that? Okay. Anyway, we appreciate you guys watching as always and listening in. Appreciate you guys, for being there and supporting the show. We'll see you guys Sunday, talking about the Seahawks and Giants game there. And appreciate you guys as always. Go G-Man! Go G-Man! G-Man! And the masters of the...
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm